Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today I have Maddy joining me. Hi, Maddy.
Hi.
Hey guys, we have an exciting success story about manifesting somebody new. I know we talk about a lot about getting our ex back, but this video is for those of you that don't have a specific person but do want to manifest somebody. So we've got a great success story. We're also going to go through some points on how you can actually create that for yourself. Just before we do, to let you know, Maddy is available for coaching. She is having a sale. The link is in the description below. And guys, we're also having a contest when we get to 100,000 subscribers. We are giving away 3 free coaching sessions to 3 different people with the coach of your choice. And yeah, all you need to do to enter is make sure you're subscribed, share our videos, as well as comment what you've manifested using the law of attraction. When we share our success stories, no matter how big or how small, it inspires other people, because something that you may have manifested easily may be something someone's struggling with. And when they see it's possible, then they also will, have that inspiration and hope. So yes, exciting to have you here today, Maddy.
Thank you.
So I'm curious, the success story we were talking about, how to manifest somebody new. So yeah.
Yeah. So in that point in time in my life, this is my own success story. So in that time, I wanted to create a new person. That's just where I was at. That's what I wanted. And I had written down on a piece of paper all the qualities that I wanted in a person, even down to some of the looks, just because I was, feeling a certain way. I was like, I can be as specific as I want because this is my creation. And this is, what I want to do. This is what I want to go for. This is what I want my relationship to look like. And I got extremely specific on how he would treat me, even on a day-to-day basis, and like how he was going to be with my friends and family. And I remember just feeling so confident. And I'd look at that list and I'd be like, I'm going to have this. I already have this. It's happening now. And I was just so peaceful and confident about it. And that went on for about a month. And I just remember one day feeling even more peaceful than I was before and being like, it's already here. I already have it. And that's the day that I actually met him. And I remember meeting him and he was so sure about me. So sure. And he wanted me to be his girlfriend right away. He was like, I don't know what it is about you, but you're amazing to me. You are the best thing that has ever happened in my life. All the things that I've been wanting that specific person to say to me when I met them is that they'd be crazy about me. They'd be all about me. There was no questions about it. And I wanted that person to feel very confident about the relationship and they would never want anybody else. And that's literally what happened too. And he's still that way, so confident about our relationship. And I remember I was moving out of my apartment. We were only dating for a few weeks. And I was like, I'm going to go live with some friends. It's going to be great. And he helped me move into my storage unit. And that day he was like, actually, do you want to move in with me? And I had thought about that for a little bit. I'm like, what if I moved in with him? Like, I've never lived with somebody like that before, but I think it'd be fun. And I made it his idea, which was really fun. And now we're buying a house together. He treats me amazingly. He treats me like an absolute queen. And he still says all those things daily, honestly, that I'd been intending for so long. And I've stayed so consistent, even with my mental diet, like, this is how it is. Our relationship is solid. It's amazing. He wants this with me. And it's come so easily and effortlessly. And he's been a good mirror to me too about like what my blocks are, my limiting beliefs. And that's been very helpful. Like if I wanted him to go clean the dishes or something. And he's like, no, I don't want to clean the dishes, because I created that. And I'm like, oh, he's just unhelpful. Like he doesn't want to do anything. And then he'd reflect that. And I was like, no, he helps me. And he puts 100% into this relationship.
Right?
Yes.
I know, so that's always the first step, right? To manifesting somebody new is doing that list. And when you do that list, you can be as specific or as general as you want. Actually, my success story, that's how I manifested Andrew. The list was, I wanted a lawyer. I wanted somebody that was going to chase me, that wanted to be with me, that absolutely thought I was the best thing ever, that he was nice and responsible. financially stable, had his own business, right? So all of these things I put on that list, and I did the same thing. I kept intending that that person on the list was going to show up, And then I said it so much that I got to a place of calm and peacefulness because I told myself it was going to happen so much that, and then there was so many other things I was manifesting that I was like, okay, I don't need to worry about this. Like, it's happening. And then the funny thing is I was actually sort of interested in someone else at the time, but then I was like, I don't know if I had too many limiting beliefs there, and he wasn't really my list. I already knew him when I was making the list. And then I was like, this lawyer's like chasing me. He really wants me. And sure enough, it was Andrew. And he was everything that was on that list. Like, I pulled out that list after I knew him for a little while, and I was like, oh, I'm like, this was him. I'm like, everything was on here. And oh my goodness. And I have a similar story. So I did most of the housework, and I was like, I hate laundry and dishes. Like, anyone that knows me knows I'm like, no, forget it. I don't care. Leave them in a pile. I'll like wash them when I need them, and I won't put them away. So it's actually to the point where Andrew does all the laundry and all the dishes, to the point where we joke that the washing machine is Andrew's girlfriend, because every time it beeps, he goes running to do the laundry.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Right. So
No.
one thing I love that you touched on was that you worked on your self-concept about who you were in relation to a relationship. Like, guys always commit to me. Like, what were some of the things that you were creating?
So I noticed about myself that when I was in relationships, that I didn't have the best mental diet when it came to myself, and I wanted to switch that. And so some of my limiting beliefs were, I'm not good enough. People always leave, like they're not loyal to me. And I basically got to the point where I was like, you know what? Everyone's loyal to me. I'm easily committed to. I make the most unavailable man completely available to me. And I am always put first. I am always first priority to myself and to everybody else. Everybody sees me as amazing. I always get what I want. My favorite affirmation, I think, even to date, is I have it all.
I like that one. And it's like, I was, that song, like pennies from heaven, every time it rains, it's like pennies from heaven. And, it's, when I think of that song, it's so true, because our negative thoughts are really the key to what we actually want. So like, when we make a declaration for something and we say, okay, we want a good committed relationship, we need to listen to what our self-talk is, because our negative thoughts, just our subconscious mind says, hey, you've got this to deal with, that to deal with, this to deal with. So one of mine is, and this wasn't even really in particular with Andrew. So I had created the story that any guy that was previously married didn't want to have another committed relationship again. And what ended up happening was, before Andrew, I had this guy, and it just wasn't working out. He didn't want a commitment. He just wanted friends with benefits. And I didn't really, notice the feedback from him, so I said, forget it to him. Then I manifested Andrew. And the funny thing is when I was like, okay, this is getting serious. You're here every day. Do you want to move in together? And he literally said to me, he's like, no, I was previously married and I don't want another commitment. And I was like, oh my goodness. Right. And I was like, whoa. So I took that and I changed it. And obviously we live together now. And, so when we make a declaration for something, you want to listen to those negative thoughts and acknowledge them, and then turn them into the positive. But you don't need to make them a big deal, because they're not a big deal. It's simply a thought that you had. And then if you just catch it and say, no, I don't have to believe that. I don't need to make it a big deal. And this is what I want instead. You're really going to change your life around really, really quickly. And that really is what a mental diet is. If you sit down and do intentions 3 times a day, but then think negative all throughout that, you're really just treading water. Right? Where the real true stuff comes in is when you're going about your day and you have a thought comes and you say, is that thought in line with what I want? And the answer is no, that's a block. Then just change that thought to make it in line with what you want. And then miracles will happen in your life, right?
Yeah, and that's something that I ran into a lot with my mental diet, is that like I kept getting these negative thoughts pushing back at me. And sometimes they come in like a storm. They'd be like, no, and they'd be like one after the other, one after the other. And I was like, wow, like my mind is really fighting this, like I've had this thought for a while. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be afraid of my negative thoughts anymore, because they are just thoughts. They don't have to mean anything, but that's up to me. I assign myself that meaning. If I'm gonna be scared of this thought, if it's gonna create, I'm in charge of that. And that's the positive thing about all of this, is that you can have those negative thoughts, and even things can manifest into your world that could be perceived as negative, but you can turn it around. And that's like the best thing ever to know, is like, I have control of this. I can turn it around. And yeah, they're reflecting back to me right now that, you know what, I'm not their priority, or they don't want to be with me right now, or like in your case, they don't want to move in with me. But at the end of the day, you're like, no, you are moving in with me, and you're gonna like it, and it's going to be your idea, and you're going to come up to me and say it. And that's something that I've really enjoyed, is trying things out. Like, no, they're going to come up to me and ask me to hang out, or they're going to ask me to do this, because I wasn't confident yet that like I could just go up to them and say that, because if I was confident enough, I wouldn't have to question myself. Like, should I text them? Should I ask them to hang out? If I was confident, I'd just be like, no, I'm going to ask them to hang out, and they're going to say yes. And they're going to follow through and all this other stuff, you know? But I wasn't there yet, and that's okay. And I just made it okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know, I'm going to be real with myself and say, I don't know if I can create this yet, but I'm going to get there.
Right.
And I'm going to believe it. And that's what matters, is that I know I'm going to get there, and I know I'm going to believe it. But right now it's not that. And I'm going to intend for that. I intend to believe this. I intend that I'm going to see it in my 3D reality, and I'm going to see it now.
And I love that. I intend to believe it. I always say, and I feel like I believe it. That's my famous saying.
I love that one too, because I've said that to myself. I'm like, I intend to feel like I believe this, and I would. And I'm like,
yeah. And it's amazing. And I like the other one is, I feel satisfied with everything in my life. And that one really, it just brings it in. So we can bring in this is great. I love this. Guys, you better be writing down these intentions. There's some good ones here.
I love that.
You know, everyone is you pushed out, right? So everybody, you guys know how it works, right? You have a thought, and your thought projects out to the person that you're thinking of, or just everybody in the world in general. And depending on how specific your thought is. And the funny thing is I was getting ready for this call, and I went downstairs, and I saw Andrew getting ready to go, you know, do his lawyer thing, do lawyering. And I saw him grabbing and packing up his stuff and getting a coffee to go up to his office in the kitchen there. And in that moment, I thought to myself, I'm like, I want a Huggies. And all of a sudden Andrew was like, Huggies. And I'm like, oh my God, get out of my head. Get out of my head. In that moment, I'm like, why do I worry about anything? Like, seriously, anything. Like, you know, everyone is constantly picking up your thoughts and overhearing it. So, you know, it's not really about taking action and trying to be confident to take the action. It's about sitting down, not taking anything personal, and start, you know, putting yourself in their head by saying, this is what they think, this is what they want, and this is what they're going to say to me. And, you know, just by taking that perspective for a few moments a day, and really, you know, submersing yourself in what you want them to see, hear, and feel about the situation, can really turn everything around. Mixed with, you know, you've also got to work on your self-concept about who you are within that relationship. Like, people always commit to me. People, I'm the best girlfriend in the world. I know me and Maddy share that one. You know,
I'm the best thing that they've ever had, and they ever will have, and they know it.
yeah, exactly. Pen drop. Well, this was amazing, guys. So just to recap, you're manifesting somebody new, right? So create a list, okay? What they're going to look like, how they're going to treat you, what they're going to think about you. What else on there? Anything else they should add to that list? I mean, really anything.
And anything. It could be like how I want them to treat me every day versus like they make me coffee in the mornings. Like, it could be that specific. You don't have to be that specific, but if that's what you prefer and that's what you want, add it. Like, might as well.
Exactly. Right. And then affirm that this is going to come to you. And every time you think about it, affirm that it's coming. And then, you know, you can even, how do you get to a calm, peaceful state? I've heard that question come up already in the comments. You say, I intend to feel calm and peaceful about this. And I intend to believe like it's coming, and use a lot of those statements as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And just trust yourself. Trust that you know that this is going to create for you, because you've created other things. You've created coffee. You've created other people to tell you that they want to hang out. Like, it could be things like that that can build your belief too, that is happening.
Exactly. So guys, do that little list of manifestations, because honestly, that moment of thinking I wanted a hug and Andrew verbalizing it was just like, that's it. Why do I worry about anything? And then all of a sudden the big stuff is no longer big, because I'm like, wow, that was an everyone is you pushed out moment. And of course our famous line is, get out of my head. And he's like, get out of my head. I'm like, no, you get out of my head. We're in each other's heads, but that's
Right.
because he's me pushed out, right? So
Yeah.
so amazing. Thank you so much, Maddy. This is amazing. This was a really good video. Lots of great intentions in here for sure.
Thank you.
And guys, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.